Right. So the social media has expanded your universe.
Yes, absolutely.
And helped, has been a positive step in your development, correct?
Yes, it has, absolutely.
Because I appreciate what you're saying about sometimes furniture or interior design, and it's kind of cold. I mean, it's kind of okay, but now if you add that element of life, high-end life and happiness and how things are, and, I think that brings some kind of a spirit, some kind of life to the whole.
Well, it's funny because, we are right now talking to iHeartRadio, and, I think that what's changed, not just with Harper's Bazaar, but with other magazines like Elle Decor and, Architectural Digest, a heart has actually been put into these pages.
Right.
Because, like I said, people don't want to have a home that's just something for a magazine. Yes, these homes are now in magazines, but, people they see themselves in these pages. They see themselves with, dogs on the sofa and cushions on the floor and, people eating and having fun and laughing. I think people want to see that. People don't want the austerity and the unapproachable side of interior design, which can be very much so.
So I can feel that you always been a happy person. You were never in a situation of being hungry or in desperation or something like that. So your life is very stable. Is my assumption right?
Well, I think I've created this for myself. I went to college, as all college students, we all, struggle. My parents were more than generous with me, and they educated me. And up until my last day of college, my parents did support me. Having said that, the day after I graduated, they said, you come back home and you work with us, or you're by yourself. And you know what? I've always been a risk taker, and I stayed. And I stayed in Europe. I knew that it was going to be successful. I knew that I was going to be okay.
Interesting.
And I think that's where my happiness comes from. The fact that I know that no matter what, I will be okay.
Do you consider yourself to be successful at this point?
Again, successful for me also means being successful in life. I think that I have a wonderful partner. I have a wonderful life. I have wonderful friends and family. And I think that gives me a lot of success, and I think that's my definition.
The balance between family and business. Correct?
Absolutely. Because the thing is, I do know a lot of people that are just all about work. And I think that if it was just about work, I wouldn't consider myself a successful man. I think success comes in your happiness, and happiness gives you that balance.
I couldn't imagine you as an interior designer being unhappy. That would be a terrible result.
Oh, there's a few out there.
I mean, but I wouldn't want to work with someone that is going to design my home and he's totally unhappy or, sour, angry about life. I mean, I don't want your design, man. You're going to bring that, those vibrations into my home, please.
I think that people can sense that. And that's why the first few meetings are always very important, especially when you're working with high-end people and you're working...
Which are very demanding.
Very demanding, and celebrities who have very little time. So in this day and age, my best friend is my text. Everything that I talk to my clients about, whether I have a piece that I found on a trip that I went to, or whether I'm in Europe, or whether I'm in South America, and I'm in some flea market or whatever it is, I'll have the ability to send that picture immediately to a client. And in 3 minutes, I'll know if it's a yes or a no, So I think that technology has helped me a lot. But I also think that personality helps. I think personality is about 60% of my projects.
Right. Interesting. Now, I mean, if you don't want to answer this question, you're free not to. But I'm curious, what kind of when I go to a restaurant and I buy a plate of a dish of whatever, Peruvian food, whatever, we pay, let's say $20, $15, Or if you go to IKEA, you buy a sofa for what, $800, whatever. When you make a budget for these high-end people, the people in the entertainment industry that usually they are very, wealthy.
Yeah.
What kind of a budget is what they actually operate under? Is $1 million, 500, 50,000? What kind of billing you have in a gross? I'm not talking about your business specifically, or probably what's the highest budget that you have presented, and
Well, it also depends whether it's a commercial or or a home, a personal home. But I usually operate on, and because my background is in the real estate business in the States, I usually tell the client, I'm very honest with the clients, and I will say, listen, your home is worth, let's say, for example, 1.8, or in another case, it could be 12.8 million.
Right.
So I usually say, take a percentage of that and make sure that when you sell your home, that work that you've put into this house will actually make your house more valuable. So that's the formula I use. I never push on budgets, but it usually happens that, and it's the case with a client that I have right now. She wants to build on part of the house, and she wants to actually expand the square footage. But I tell her, it's like, what are your expectations? Are you going to stay here 5 years, 10 years? Do you expect to sell this for double the value, or what it is that you want to do? So that's how we kind of look at the budgets,
Interesting. So I never thought about it, but it's very smart. Now, I had a question that I always ask. And if you had a huge billboard in the city,
yes,
what message could you put on it beside your business name, of course?
I think the billboard would probably have to say something like, be happy, be conscious of your words, and be really what you want to be. And at the end of the day, you'll be okay.
So be happy.
Be happy, be consistent, look forward to your life, and don't worry about the rest, because it'll come naturally.
That's so interesting. And what's the first thought it comes to your mind after reading this phrase by Seneca, the Roman philosopher, life is long if you know how to use it?
I think that you have to make the best of your life. Whatever it is, whatever your expectation of life is, I think at the end of the day, you are the owner of your own life. And just cram in as much as you can, and I think that I always say this to people is, you're given lemons, make the best lemonade possible. And it's with a little bit of pisco, even better.
Interesting. Interesting, of course. Now, Luigi, thank you so much for being with us here.
My pleasure.
Is there any other thing that you would like to add to this conversation, like, your final thought or your final message before we say bye?
I think the most important thing is to really set your goals, set a time frame, and don't get too attached to the process, because if you enjoy the journey and don't just think of the end product, it makes it more enjoyable and less stressful. And you need to stay true to yourself and stay focused, and remember that no one can do it by himself. I think that's probably the best thing.
That's interesting, because some people just get so focused on the goal and they forget the process.
And
right?
I think also, I think with interior design, it really is a team effort. There's and you got to deal with a lot of egos, but at the end of the day, I think you got to share your responsibilities, because there's architects, there's painters, there's carpenters, there's, everyone's involved. So it really is a team effort. And especially in my field, you need all the support you can get.
So is there any other project, not in interior designing, but some other business that you are trying to develop at this point?
I'm happy to say that my professional life is full of interesting projects, especially they're out of the box projects. And they obviously range from interior design to travel to merchandising to luxury lifestyle products and branding, and publishing to product development. In the works, I think, as my brand says itself, the Star Hunter, we've signed off on some collaborations with an Ecolodge in Tulum, like I said to you before, and the luxury private island in Belize. But I think what's really interesting right now is we're actually looking at bringing the Star Hunter to the small screen. We've had a couple of interested parties, but we're looking for the right product because I think that, my job is a very visual job, and I think that people actually want to see it. And I've had 2 or 3 production companies putting something together so that we can actually have a show for the Star Hunter. The one thing that I
love the name, by the way.
It's funny because, the magazine called me that many years ago, and I just run with it because I think that people are captured by the fact that you can be an interior designer, but it's all about hunting for the right pieces wherever you go to create a decor or create, an ambiance in someone's home. And because of being given the opportunity to be in the Star Hunter, I've been able to go into other projects like I told you. We have a project that's very close to my heart, and it's I'm very passionate about. It's actually the brainchild of my husband, Daniel Baseggio, and basically it will feature the best of products from around the world that are 100% sustainable, organic, and clean science with minimal footprint. And this has never been done before at this level. And I think the intersection of design, lifestyle, and beauty makes it so unique and so interesting. I think that people are captured by that. People want to know how to get to these products. I think that putting it on a platform that people can actually buy it, it makes it very unique and it makes it very interesting.
Luigi, thank you so much. It was awesome talking to you. What a pleasure.
Welcome. Thank you very much. Thank you for having us.
If you want to contact Luigi, go to luigiirauzqui.com. Thanks so much for listening to our show this week. If you want to find out more about our podcast, follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Como Lo Hizo, or visit our website at ComoLoHizo.com. Please subscribe to our show on Apple Podcasts or anywhere you listen to your podcast. If you want to reach out to comment or suggest a topic, please email hello@ComoLoHizo.com. This show was produced at the iHeart Studios in Los Angeles. I'd like to thank our producers, Fernando Alejandro Schiantarelli and Amelia Machiavello, our sound engineer, Martin Garcia, and Annie Siderovich, our general producer. Como Lo Hizo is a co-production from Premiere Radio Network and Crece Grow Media. I am Fernando Schiantarelli. Thanks again for listening.